Hi, this video, I've only got 12 minutes, it's made at 19:11 on, June 15th today. Now, Lubna, this is a direct message, but I'm putting it public. You are starting to censor your channel, and you censored me today. You went from one topic to another one. You know, maybe we do have things in common, but by the way, I mean, I don't want to talk to you privately ever. That's not why I'm on your channel. As I heard you had death threats. Your discussions are interesting. And today was quite interesting. The first one was clearly a woman who'd been abused. And it was horrific. And it prompted me to mention two situations. One was a woman who, her ex-husband tried to kill her, and that's a proven fact in a court of law. But for some I still don't know reason, she decided to, every time she was angry with me, to call the police out. Now, she had no reason to, but in New Zealand, they take domestic violence seriously, as do I. But it ended up in a farce of a shit show and a complete waste of time, where my defence lawyer said to her, look, did you call the police out on him because he was being abusive or because you were annoyed with him about being a procrastinator? And she admitted the latter. So, I'm guilty of procrastination. But of course, Lubna, you've become politically correct. In fact, you probably already are politically correct. And, I do appreciate what you're doing. I mean, I reckon as a guess, I've spent more time in South Asia than you have. So that makes me potentially, the Indian culture has rubbed off on me. And of course, in the Indian culture, your private business is your private business, but not in politically correct Britannia. And so anyway, I can remember the judge, and he had eyebrows bushier than mine. And he goes, am I missing something? He said, I'm going to lunch early, which in New Zealand means piss off to the police. It's very rude to say that by a judge. Judges don't do that. You don't know what that means. So I'm pissed off about that because I then mentioned the second situation. My ex has told a lie to the Red Cross and a county council. And it's had devastating consequences, of which anyone listening to this video would know. And she is steadfastly refusing to come clean. I've told you that she's a non-British national. That is relevant. Because in this culture, what's left of it, if you come clean, things are okay. I do not like landlordism. In fact, I call them sea lords, and I'm not talking about SEA, I'm talking about something else. Oh, I've got 4 properties. Well, what? And they're all completely dilapidated, and you're letting people live in complete squalor. And so what my ex is she figured out that if she told this big white lie, everything would be okay. Well, things are not okay. And when you come clean, you've got to come clean. I've warned her and warned her and warned her. I will eventually name her and her nationality. And I stopped back from doing that. I had control. I was also on a train. I also muted myself when I said where I was. Who cares anymore, really? It's like one thing we've got in common. What's your name again, Lubna? I've had death threats, real death threats. And a situation arose on your live stream, by the way, on Friday. You don't know if you noticed I left in a hurry. I don't think the two are connected, but when you've had death threats, you start getting really worried. So you censored me today. I wanted to talk about the situation in Iran because I've been in 3 countries in the Middle East, and I wanted to talk positively about the people of the Middle East because it's not a homogenous place. There's the Iranians who live there. There's displaced Arabs who live there. There are Kuwaitis. There are Qataris. They're great. You know what I mean? They're all great people. And, I was just going to talk lightheartedly about the time I almost went to Afghanistan. I went to Egypt instead, actually. I decided that was a tad safer. So you censored me, and I'm well pissed off about that. I do not appreciate being censored. I got upset at my church, where again they said quite clearly, if you're coming here thinking you're perfect, there's a problem. If you're coming here in need of God's forgiveness always, you're in the right place. The second thing you did was to censor yesterday. I'll tell you straight how you did it. You were going to have a live discussion. I know you're in a difficult situation, Lubna. Please do not think I am making a judgment on you. I'm not really bothered what you think of me. But you then turn around and you were going to have a topic called Christianity. I thought, well, yeah, I can talk about that. And I met a lovely old guy today. He was, born in 1938. He's never read the Bible, but he's a Christian, for sure. 100%. Real. I mean, I'd love to video him. I'd have to get his consent. It'll take a while. You know how PC things are these days. You definitely know how PC things are. So what you then allowed it to be, what you allowed to happen was to be hijacked by Dawa and Taqiyya. And which you've censored, by the way. You've censored the word Taqiyya. Now, Taqiyya and abrogation are two words you need to learn about Islam. Because any Muslim, being honest, will tell you about this. The trouble is, do you know when they're being honest or not? Because, I mean, where was I? Yeah, you censored. You then changed the topic. You then changed the topic to allow the Dawa to conflate and confuse. And the Bible is very clear about the person who confuses. And you then put it on that the people who were doing Dawa took over the conversation. There was another Christian there who was actually very, very good. You should watch it again. Who led the discussion. It was very good. He led from the Bible, and he went along with the changed title. I didn't. I just talked about Christianity. And if you're going to talk about Christianity, you talk about Christ, who he was, what he did, died for our sins, stuff like that. And so then the comments started rolling in. Oh, James, you're going off topic. Well, I wasn't going off topic. You changed the topic. So my accusation stands. We can sort this out. What am I doing tomorrow? I'm definitely not around tomorrow. Lucky night. Because I've got something seriously urgent to do tomorrow night, because I had almost a death threat on Friday. I say it like it is. If you don't like that, then, the British are so pathetic. And by the way, the British culture has become so pathetic. And one of the reasons is, well, there's several reasons for it. It's like the enrichment we've had from some cultures is actually quite enriching, because the white British culture seems to have completely gone to pot. Actually, almost literally, because we've got so many people on weed, it's ridiculous. I mean, the problem is with most British people, I don't have anything against the white British, because, I'm about, don't know what percentage white British, but I'm also of Irish and Antipodean descent, and also residency, so that's why I'm very confusing. But where was I? Oh yeah, the British culture. I mean, you've got people who think that watching BBC and ITV News is actually getting a balanced view. I mean, I was actually again in church. I didn't use the analogy two cheeks of the same peach, or, BBC and ITV have become what I call the Eddie media. I mean, it was the BBC who allowed a son of a Hamas official to present Panorama. I mean, you do actually have to laugh. And so your conversation was really good. It was really, really good when you had someone who was really expert on the Middle East explaining what happened in Iran. And what happened in Iran is actually a warning. You see, Carter really messed up, because had you not censored me, I would have hurried it along. I would have said Jimmy Carter, peanut guy. He was a weak president. He was a very, very weak president. I mean, he wasn't as weak as Biden. And I'm just hoping history repeats itself, because when Carter was replaced by Ronald Reagan, yeah, that's a biased statement, by the way, Ronald. So basically, when Ronald Reagan took over, he basically was already doing business with the Iranians. And as soon as he was inaugurated, the hostages were released. So the discussion was very, very positive after that. When you mention something which is distressing to me, I will talk about it. Now, women abuse men. It's just a fact of life. But the trouble is, in our politically correct world, the man's never believed. And it makes domestic violence a very, very difficult subject, because when a man is abusive, they tend to leave a, pattern, stuff like that. It's something that needs to be tackled head on, but also it happens the other way. So allowing that title to be changed, I know you're trying to do the right thing. I'm not. I mean, I'm angry with you, but it's not. I'll get over it eventually. You changed the topic and you allowed the Dawa and the Takia to move in, because this happens every week at Speaker's Corner, by the way. I've had a break. I might have another break next week. I mean, I'm a bit fed up of Speaker's Corner. It's like rinse and repeat. It's like sort of watching EastEnders. There's always someone beating someone up. There's always, Phil Mitchell running around threatening someone, and eventually it gets boring. But I mean, this has been the papists or Bobites at the park have kind of really refuted this. I mean, that's the one good thing they're good at, but, shame about the fact they're not. Yeah, I'll leave that. But where are we? Like I say, it would have been better had you put it down to what is Christianity, because I was trying to explain what Christianity was. And like I say, I've just cited a man who's not read the Bible, clearly had an experience of God, clearly is going to be one of the sheep rather than the goats. And like I say, I wanted to talk positively about the Middle East today. The Middle East is a great place. It's very culturally rich. It's very culturally diverse. The Arabs are one big family, and, they're nice people. Some of them are very religious. Some of them like to drink, and, that's fine. But like I say, the Iranian situation, very, very important. But anyway, I'm running out of time. Have a good evening, and I'll see you maybe Tuesday on your live stream. Goodbye.